Now we are within the EalSuite Axle space. Now we want to create apps. So we need to have a proper architecture of the we need to have a proper architectural knowledge of how we are going to build the app. What all things should exist for building the app so that everything can be done in an organized manner. So we're returning back to the document here, and in the document you will be able to see that we need to have registers. Registers is a terminology that we use within EalSuite Axle for building modules within the app. So let's take building as a module. So building will be considered as a register within EalSuite Axle, and within registers we need to have different fields. So you need to have a name for a building, right? A building will be having different statuses like active and inactive. If you want to provide details or remarks against buildings, you have the option to provide it using the remarks field. So similarly, we have building, we have office, the corresponding fields within office. Then we have units, the corresponding fields within units. Similarly, in terms of Vijari, then we have parking, we have its corresponding units. Then while we are creating unit allocation, we have so much of units, so much of fields within it. And finally, when we are deallocating those units, we need some data to be entered and some data to be processed. So for all of that, we need to create registers as well as we need to create respective fields. So that's what our aim is. That's the first phase while building an app. So you build an app called unit management, you create so many registers, you create so many fields, and then you need to know exactly how each of these registers are going to interact or communicate each other when we are building stuff, when you're changing statuses, so and so. That's what we are going to see within this video moving forward. So I'll be showing you how to create registers, create custom fields, and then create workflows. So let's get started. Let's start building the app using EalSuite Axle. So I'll be clicking on create app. So we have different options here. You can see you can import apps into the space. You can explore the different types of templates that we have. We're not going to explore that in this video. We'll be taking a closer look into unit management. So while creating an app, you can provide a name, you can provide an icon. We're not going to do anything with the icon right now, and if you want to, you can provide a description as well. So I'm going to provide a description such that okay, done. So we are trying to create an organized app which can handle office and unit allocations. Just a simple description. So the app is built, right? Oh, it doesn't mean that the entirety of the app is built. The basic fundamental block of the app is built. Now you're getting into the app management section. You need to configure a lot of things. So you need to configure a lot of registers, then you create the workflows. There are so many options here. You need to add in the users and role. You need to, if you want to, you can publish the templates. Everything is done. So let's go directly into register section and let's start building the registers. So first of all, building is the register I'm going to create. Now the record view type, we'll keep it as contact view itself, because if you get inside a building, how this should be seen, you need to see the details of the building, right? So a record view type works, and the type will be contact view. So we'll go to the details of that. Once we get into the view of the building, you will get to understand. I'll explain it that later. Now, whether this is a collection or not. So what do you mean by a collection? A collection means if you want to create a register within another register, that's what a collection means. Is building such kind of a register? No, it's a completely independent one. It's a parent register, I can say. So I'm not going to make it as a collection. Now, talking about the rest of the options, do you want to attach any documents against it? Yes. So you can enable the checkbox. If you want to set any reminders against any of the records which we are going to build within building, then you can enable the checkbox of reminder. If you are going to set up any, okay, while you're creating any records, do you want to have a sequential order of creation? Then you need to have a series manager. So I'm enabling it. And submitting and a building register has been created, right? I can go within building and create subsequent fields within it. So I'm going to move forward office. I'm going to move forward creating all the registers right now. Then I'll proceed forward into unit. Then I'll proceed forward in creating all the fields, custom fields. So the pattern that I'm following for all the registers is going to be the same. There's only going to be a small difference, which is the final register. We'll speak about that. Now we can create parking. Now we need to allocate the units. So we need a space for that, and for that we'll be utilizing unit allocation. And unit D allocation is going to be the space where we deallocate the allocated units. And finally, we have the unit allocation payment details. So when you're allocating one or multiple units for a customer, for a company, or against a company, there will be some payment details, right? So those payment details, should it be an independent register or should it be coming inside any register? It should be coming inside a register. Which one? It should be coming inside unit allocation, and I'll show you how the UI works and everything. So we'll keep it like this. So that's a logic. Now you can see some actions. We'll speak about the actions later. So we go within a register. There are a few options like register fields, form, series managers, and everything. If I click on series manager, you can see, right, when a building record gets created, how will it get created? It will have a series manager. It will have an ID. It will have an ID where the prefix will be building hyphen, suffix will be 1. If you want to change it, you can change it in any possible way as well. So if you want to keep it like B hyphen, you can submit it. It changes. So I'm going to make it back in the usual way itself. So this automatically comes if you tick on the checkbox of series manager while you're creating the register. Now the next one is form. Now what do you mean by form? We'll get to forms later. We'll first of all create some fields, then we'll go to forms. So the first field that we need to create is name. We need to provide a name for the building, right? And it should be mandatory. There are no default values, and it should be unique. So in all of these different ways, we will be able to create these custom fields, or we can say register fields to be precise. So the first custom field or register field has been created. Now let's create the second one. So status. Now status is not going to be a text box. It's going to be like you need to select different statuses, right? So as per ABC Enterprises, there are two statuses. I mean, this is a problem. We're trying to solve the problem of ABC Enterprise, right? So it's not mandatory. We're not going to keep it as mandatory. The default value while a building is being created we'll keep it as active. Then you can click on submit, and then remarks. It's going to be a text area, so that if you have a large amount of data to be entered, then you can enter it. Default value, mandatory, unique, nothing is going to affect. We're going to submit, and all the fields are created. We're returning back to building. We're going into forms. Now, the forms is not configured right now. So what we're going to do, we're going to click on edit. You can see. So while creating a building, which all fields needs to be seen. So we're gonna just, you can see that name, status, remarks, and everything is present. So I'm gonna add a group. I'm gonna group as, I'm just showing you how a group works. I'm gonna just name it as master. Then I'm gonna keep it here, and I'm going to remove status, which means that while creating a building, only the name and remarks will be getting shown. Why did I do that? Because somebody who is creating or editing a building doesn't necessarily need to change the status. Status changing of a building. Now imagine if a building is created as active, and if it needs to return back to inactive, there's a lot of process which happens in between that, right? A building is being made as inactive, so there's a lot of CTA happening. There's a lot of process happening, and finally you're getting to realize it's an organizational decision. So you don't need to see status while the building is being created or when the building is being edited. So you can keep it like this, and I'm going to submit it. So the form is being created. Now the series manager is also configured. Now I'm going to click on actions like smart view column, form columns, view layout. Okay, so I can see that some of the things are not updated right now. We'll get to the details of that. We'll go to the EalSuite side, and we'll check why it didn't get updated or anything like that. It's not a thing to bother right now. We'll have to maybe somehow configure the forms and layout maybe once again. That's it. So similarly, I can come to Office. I can go to register fields. I need to create all the fields within Office also. So we have a bunch of fields to be created. So I'm not going to show everything in the video, because if I'm trying to show every creation within the video, it will take a lot of time. So we'll just wrap up all the creation process right now, and let's directly jump to a stage where all the fields are created, all the smart views, all the forms, everything are just configured. Then we can get directly into the EalSuite side of things, and I'll show you how records can be created, and then we'll directly jump into the workflow section. So I hope everything is clear for everyone regarding the fields creation part. The field creation is a very simple part here. You just have to provide a name for the field and select which type of field that you are creating, whether it's a number field, it's a drop down fields, whether it's a date picker you want. You need to auto generate some data in the field, whether you're trying to formulate something, are you trying to look up at a particular data from another module. It's a checkbox type, whether you have something to do with time, URL, decimal type, multi-select or multi-select lookups, whether it's a document uploader, whether it's an email type of field. So EalSuite Axle is providing all these types of fields by which you can create data into. So I think everything is ready-made. You don't have to manually code you don't have to do any of those things. Whether you want to set any default values, whether it should be mandatory or unique, those kind of validations, you can directly put it here. You don't need to do any kind of coding for that. So that's the advantage that we're trying to provide using, but that's the advantage that I felt while using EalSuite Axle. So I think that's the easiness that they're trying to provide also. So yeah, we'll get to that. Let's complete the register field creation. So all the custom field creation part is done. So right now we have created so many custom fields for all of these registers. Let's take a look into the register fields or custom fields under the section of unit allocation. So here we have all the fields. Now when it comes to the whole unit management concept, how does the whole process work? So let's if you're speaking about ABC enterprises precisely, they have so many buildings to manage, so they will be creating so many records, right? So let's see how a record can be created. So we'll go to apps. Now we are speaking about unit management, so we'll go to EalSuite. Now see, once an app is created within EalSuite, in the navigation bar you will be able to see the app unit management. So you click on unit management and you can see all the registers created against them. You have building, office, unit, Ijari, parking, unit allocation, unit deallocation. If I click on unit allocation, all the fields created against unit allocation can be seen here. The smart view is being updated. Now you can click on the create button and it will take you into the creation page, right? So on the first section we have the normal fields, and below that we have the collection and the collection fields associated with it. Now imagine how does the whole process works. That's really important. So ABC enterprises will be coming in, creating buildings like these, then corresponding offices, right? Then units, then Ijaris and parking. So how does a creation process works? You can go here and you can create building. So I'm gonna name it as building 006 East King Road. That's it. So a new building has been created. So I gave the name, I gave the remarks, and the status field was restricted using the forms feature, that you don't need to see the status option while creating or editing. So such kind of condition exists. We'll have to set that up using forms. Now there are some other conditions also. Okay, we'll move forward with the operations right now, then we will go to the conditions. Now you'll be coming into the unit allocation section. Now you have to allocate units against customers. So you'll be coming in, you're clicking here, you'll be providing the date, you'll be selecting the customer, you'll have to add the customer. We'll add the customer right now. We'll be selecting the units. All of these fields has to be selected. The Ijari is a multi-select field, data to be entered. Parking also multi-select. We'll be providing the collection data also. Then you will be saving, right? So then what happens? Initially all the records that we have created, like building, office, units, Ijari, all of this are created in maybe in an active status or in a not allocated manner. Units are not allocated right now. Ijari or parking are not allocated. So once these are allocated, what needs to change? That's where our workflow comes in. When a unit is allocated, the status of unit should be getting changed from not allocated to allocated manner, or into some allocation in review or something like that, if there is an approval in between waiting to happen. So every company will be having their own workflows, operational workflows, and understanding those operational workflows in detail will be converting this into Axle workflows. That's what we are going to do moving forward. So we have to create customers. We'll create the customers at a later point. Let's first of all create workflows, and there are some conditions also associated to it. Some form rules, form guardians can be set. That is, during unit allocation creation, units, Ijari, parking, all of them which should be listed should always be in a not allocated status. So can that be done? Yes, that can definitely be done. You have to go to units, you add the condition that the status of the units which should be getting listed should always be in not allocated. There are other statuses also. None of the units ijari or parking in those statuses should be getting listed there, right? So such kind of field level restrictions can be set. Then there are some other restrictions, like if you come to forms, I've set up some other restrictions also. What are those restrictions? Like the ijari start date should be mandatory if ijari is selected. So while creating or editing a unit allocation, if an ijari is being selected, then the ijari start date should be mandatory. Similarly, when unit allocation is edited, unit field cannot be modified. So you have to keep some restriction. Unit allocation cannot be edited when its status is a deallocation in review, deallocated, renewal in review, renewed or in rejected manner, right? So such kind of conditions has to be set. So I've already set those conditions. We'll take a look. So the condition is that the name is ijari start date condition. Ijari start date should be mandatory if an ijari is chosen. So where ijari is not empty and ijari start date is empty, in those conditions there should be a form which guards itself not to be created or to be edited. Similarly, I have already written here that unit allocation cannot be edited if the statuses are so and so. So when the status is deallocation in review, deallocated, rejected, renewal, renewed, then unit allocation shouldn't be edited, right? That's the case. So in such a way, so many form related guardians can be set, and also field based restrictions can also be set within EalSuite Axle backend. Alright, now with that, I'm gonna go to unit management and click on workflow, and this will take me into the workflow creation page. So in this video, I'll be showing you how to create a workflow, a very detailed workflow creation process. So the condition is that you're trying to create a unit allocation. You're selecting some units, right? You're allocating it against the customer. You're selecting some units, some ijari, some parking. Once you click on save, the statuses of these units, ijaris and parking should be updated to something else, right? That should be the workflow. So rather than making a manual thing, you need to automate it. So how can this automation be done using EalSuite Axle? So we'll go to create workflow, and in create workflow we have mainly, when it comes to records, we have 4 triggers and 2 utilities. So in this particular case, unit allocation creation, when should the trigger happen? It should happen when unit allocation is getting created, right? So record created, which module or which register? Unit allocation, right? I can save it right now, so I'm going to rename it as unit allocation creation. I'm clicking on save. So the workflow got saved right now. Now we're moving forward with everything. So now what happens? So when unit allocation gets saved, what all should change? What should be the action which is going to take place? The action which needs to take place is that you need to update when the unit allocation is created. So there is an approval process that we are trying to build in between. So what happens? First, it should go the units, ijaris and parking which got selected during the unit allocation creation. It should first go into an allocation in review process, and once the approval is done, based on whether it has been approved into yes or no, it should be moving into some different status. So we'll take a look into it. So I'm clicking on update records. So what should get updated? First of all, units should get updated. And what is a field to get updated? It should be the status of unit. Now, choosing the record, we choose the output of record created, within which you will be able to see unit allocation, within which you can see the units, and those the record IDs which matches. See, the condition is very simple. What I did here, you're inside the page of unit allocation creation. There are some units that you're selecting. So in the units, like I can come here, I can go to units. So there are a lot of units here. So which units status is to be changed? That's the question. Everything is in not allocated manner. This should be changed into allocation and review. So which one? The one that I'm selecting from the page of creation of unit allocation. How can I find it? I can find it using the condition in the record created trigger. What is getting active? Unit allocation is getting active. Which unit has been selected inside unit allocation page, creation page? That unit's record has to be chosen and that unit has to be updated. That's the condition that we are going to apply. It's going to be getting updated into allocation in review. Then what needs to get changed? The same thing applies to another update record, which is that Ijari. No need to explain everything in detail right now because you just have to find Ijari and choose the record ID. It will be changed to allocation in review. So the second one is also updated, right? You can hover over this and you will be able to see the details. Now, once this is done, I need another update record, and that update record is going to be for parking. Status is going to get updated. The record to be chosen is record created, unit allocation. You can search for this as well. So you find parking, record ID, allocation in review. I'm just temporarily saving it. So the trigger and some of the actions are being set. Now what do you want? You need an approval, right? Somebody from the head needs to approve this. So you are coming into the actions list once again. So on the record side, you had create a record, update records, find records. We have if else conditions, we're bringing in switch conditions. Yes, advanced case, we have approval. So you're selecting approval, you're keeping it as of now for convenience, we're keeping it approval type, like anyone can approve, and create unit allocation. This is the approval that I'm going to do. Assign to who? So it's going to be getting assigned to me itself so that I'll be able to show it to you guys. Approval. And now I need to select the output of record created, unit allocation, and I need to get the record URL. So why am I choosing this? What's the record link? That's what I'm going to find. So I'm choosing the record URL also. So the approval is also done. Now the question is, I can maybe directly go to the if condition right now, but in between I'm going to set a log so that you'll be able to capture all the details. So create log. So in the logging section, unit allocation should be having the log. So which to choose in the record created, unit allocation, record ID. That is the unit allocation against which the log has to be created. Now, what should be done as a log text? Record created. Maybe I'll do it as something like this. Unit allocation got approved, right? I'll keep it as unit allocation approval and received. No, I'll just keep it as this itself. Yeah, I'll keep it like this, unit allocation. Yes, selected the variable, the response from the approval block will be fetched here. That's the logic. Now, okay, so the log condition doesn't have any direct implication on the workflow. Let's return back to the main workflow. What should happen? That's the question. So if the approval is yes, right, something should happen. The status of units, Ijaris, parking, all of this should be getting as approved or allocated. If the answer is no, or the response is no, if it's a false condition from if else, then it should be getting rejected. What should be getting rejected? The unit allocation should be getting rejected, and all the units, parking, ijari and everything should be staying at not allocated state. So we will first of all create an if else case, and in the if else case we will select the previous node as approval. From whose output are you trying to work out this if else? So approval. Now what should be the condition? The condition should be such that the response equals approved. Right now you have to manually type it. All right, now if else will have two sides. I'm gonna go with the false right now. Yeah. Okay, so on the if else side, first thing I'm going to do is that it didn't get the approval, right? The false case. What should first get updated? The first thing to get updated is the unit allocation. What status of unit allocation? It should be that the record created unit allocations record ID should be captured. To what it should go? The unit allocation is not approved, then what happened? It will get rejected. Then further to that, we have units, ijari and parking. So you update the record of unit first of all, the status, and you come here, record created, unit allocation, unit, record ID, status to get is that when the unit allocation was created, we moved it to allocation in review. If it's getting rejected, it will return back to not allocated, or it should return back to not allocated. That's the method. Okay. You update similarly the ijari part. The record ID not allocated. Similarly, you update that of parking as well. So that is done. Now not allocated. So we'll click on save. So update record has been passed for unit allocation, units, ijari and parking. We will just take a look into the detail. Okay, it should be placed like this into the false end, just to make sure that everything marked is correct. We'll just check. This is record created, unit allocation, ijari record ID, and finally for parking. So we just update records for unit allocation, unit, ijari and parking. So that part is done. Now the question is, if we get the true condition, we need to again think about the positive thing, right? So what happens? Unit allocations status needs to be, let's select the unit allocation record ID. The status need to be changed into allocated. So here it was rejected, here it will be allocated. Similarly, what needs to change? You need to update the record of units. Status need to get updated into what? Into allocated. Then we have Jari to be updated. Okay, so this sums up our whole workflow creation, right? So we started with the record created. So because unit allocation creation is the trigger, then we have, before going into approval, we moved it, the status of unit Ijari and parking into allocation and review. We set a log block, then we created an if else block. In the true case, we'll be moving everything into allocated. If it's a false case, the unit allocation will be getting rejected and all the rest will be moved back into not allocated. So you click on save, you return back, and you keep it in draft. So this is, sorry, it was initially in draft, you keep it into publish, and you have, first of all, a published workflow. Now let's return back to our EalSuite space. Let's reload the page. Yes. Now we are creating our first unit allocation. So while creating the unit allocation, you need a customer, right? So you come to the customer section. Let's create a customer with a very easy name. Yes, I'm not going to add any other detail. Just clicking on save. Meghna Prakash has been created. Now we're returning back to, yeah, let's return back. Meghna will stay in that tab. Let's create. So since the series manager was enabled, you can see unit allocation series ID has already been fetched. Well, let's select the date, choosing the customer. Now all of these units which I'm going to set, which gets listed, were in a not allocated status. Now allocation date, license number, activity, let's say auditing firm, the start date, the end date. Let's choose one Ijari right now. Similarly, I'll choosing one parking. None of the fields are mandatory, but we'll give some names to the contract period, and also rent values 50, deposit is 125, Ijari charges are 5, parking charges 25. We'll keep the first branch itself. Remarks, nothing special to be written. Other facilities, accounting solution, payment total, maybe we'll keep it as 500. Choosing the salesperson, we'll keep it as Varun Krishna. And you're adding the payment terms. So payment terms is net 30. Payment mode is check. The bank name is IDFC Bank. Check number is 10010. The date is 11th and the amount of total is 650. Alright, nothing else to add. All you have to do is you click on save, and what happens? The selected unit Ijari and parking status, we'll keep it here. Unit Ijari and parking, Meghna can be gone. So unit not allocated, Ijari not allocated, parking not allocated. Everything should initially move into an allocation in review status once I click on save, because this clicking on save will trigger the workflow, right? So the record got saved, the record got created, everything is proper. Now allocation in review. Now this Ijari one not allocated should also move to allocation in review, and parking not allocated also should move to allocation in review. So what was supposed to happen happened. So this is the way in which a workflow can be created and it can be triggered, so and so. Now what should also happen? An approval request should also coming in, right? So an approval request also coming in. What's the title? Create unit allocation. Create unit allocation workflows. If I click on the record link, it will directly take us into the unit allocation section. All right, so that worked. Now the show model shows us all the details. So Varun is the one who needs to approve the final status is pending. The respondent date time, nothing has been present right now. So you come here, you have the option to approve or reject. Let's approve it, right? So I click on here, nothing to comment, click. So what happens? Did it get approved? That's the question. So unit allocation right now, what is the status of unit allocation right now? In review. So when getting created, unit allocation creation should be in review. Now once it's done, it should be getting moved into allocated part. So I'm reloading the page, and what happens? It has moved into allocation. Similarly, the allocation in review unit will also be moved into allocated. In terms of Ijari, the allocation review Ijari will also be moving into allocated. And here Ijari approval page will go to parking. Yes, parking also has been moved into allocated. So this is how, using EalSuite Axle, I can build workflows and I can automate all of these processes. Now imagine there are a lot of conditions in the unit management section itself. You have to unallocate these things, that means deallocate these things. Renewal plans has to be put up, right? Then agreements has to be generated. The status conditions for all of these buildings, offices, units, Ijari, all of these kinds of workflows has to be done. All of this can be created using EalSuite's workflow builder. So this is a simple way in which, using EalSuite Axle, a lot of problems can be addressed and solved by creating apps. So this is what I wanted to show all of you guys. So I hope that moving forward, everybody will be utilizing the platform EalSuite Axle to build such kind of apps, build interactions between different modules, sub-modules, different apps. All things are possible, and you will be able to create easy workflows and automate your business processes. Thank you very much.